Sooner Scoop HD.
Obviously, a couple days since the Kansas game. Just after going back and watching the film, especially over those last couple minutes, just what did you see maybe different going through the film, and maybe what are some of the lessons that the team needs to learn from that game?
You know, God, I thought we did so many things well in that game. They started their comeback, and there was a handful of things. They had an offensive rebound that I think we were up 8 or so, that we get the rebound. We didn't. We shot one up, we migrated in instead of going out to in. If we went out to in, the ball landed there. We went over our head. Then Grady Dick shot another shot. They missed. Then they set up, and then we didn't scramble back. We were kind of lost. I know it was really loud in there, but we didn't get our matchups, and then Jalen Wilson got free for a 3. That was a key play. That was 2 rebounds, you know. So obviously, you know, the easy thing is what you're getting on social media, and everybody hit me up. There's areas where you could throw blame, you know, not at us, but that's not healthy. That's not healthy. What's healthy is in life that you want to teach is that let's start what we could have done better. All right? I know there was free throw after free throw, after foul after foul after foul, but let's start with what we could have done better. That sequence right there, we got to start. We're still up 8. We had one when Tanner took the 3 that would have put us up 4. We were in a mode where we were supposed to get back in transition. We had one went underneath the basket for an offensive rebound. That's a complete mental mistake. We were getting back on the airtime a shot to set our defense. And he missed the shot, they go down, and we were late getting down, and they got an and 1. When KJ Adams got the thing, the same thing. We went on a rebound baseline side. We weren't going offensive rebounds baseline side. It just takes longer. And then, so we had a couple mental mistakes down the stretch in transition. I thought we did so many things to put us in a position to win. And that's what we got to build on and just understand, you know. I heard the broadcast with Baylor, West Virginia, and Scott Drew kept on saying to his team, they're 0-3, same boat as us. They could have been 3-0, and it's just mental mistakes down the stretch. Some things we could do better. So, yeah, it was a gut punch. I mean, one of the hardest historically places to go against the number 2 team in the country, and we got to find a way to win. I mean, we put ourselves in a position to win, and we've got to find ways to help us win. Obviously, I wasn't happy about a lot of things the way they went down. There were the 39 free throws on the road. I mean, that's very, very tough. So I got a lot of thoughts on that that I'm not happy with, that I could talk to for days about, but I want to coach the next game. And but what's healthy and what I want to teach the guys is let's start with what we could have done better.
Just as a quick follow-up, you mentioned the free throws, not that game specific, but for the season, I think you guys are first in free throw percentage, but 9th in the Big 12 in attempts.
10th, I think, aren't we?
10th,
Or we
yeah.
were. According to Toby Rowland.
I
That could have been disparity.
Well, it's 10.
It is 10? That's what I thought. I thought it was.
I gotta check my facts.
Okay.
But just to ask about that, when you watch the film, are you seeing opportunities where the guys need to be maybe more aggressive getting to the rim, or is that just kind of the way the games are getting called? Just what have been your thoughts on that for the season?
Again, I'm going to start with what we could do better. There's times we could be more disciplined. I mean, we're minus 47, so what we want to do is where could we be more disciplined? You know, instead of reaching for the lights and not reaching. But going into the conference, we were 20th in the country in fewest fouls. Historically, my teams at Loyola have always been down there. We've been disciplined, so we got to keep stressing the discipline of no fouls. You got to have a balance of playing physical with no fouls. Did I say that right? Did I say politically correct, right?
I mean, you had, well, I don't want to harp on it too much, but with Tanner, I think right now he leads the Big 12 in fouls per game. Then he got in the Big 12. I mean, is it with the fouls and the foul shooting, is it a personnel thing? I know different styles can dictate teams.
I hope he's not getting officiated by personnel. Meaning that he's getting division, because it is. We talk about it. We watch film. We watch all his fouls with him. But he's getting. I mean, I think he gets hammered all the time, and I just think he had 3 touch fouls in each of the last 2 games. So, and I'm watching that. So I hope it's not that. But we've got to continue to talk on that, and it's got to be addressed. And But I know for Tanner, I'm going to keep working on him to be disciplined, do his work early, and not get angled. Just be, because you got to be, good defensive position. So we're constantly working on with that because it's at an epidemic rate of the fouls being called against him rather than the fouls he's drawing.
And with Grant, he had his 25 points. He seemed to be playing with some emotion. There was the tech in there, and you pulled him aside. How do you see him balancing games he had maybe leading into that and playing with that emotion and it fueling him?
100%. I think all our guards, Lawson, Grant specifically, and Bijan, but have adjusted to the Big 12. I think the first two games, playing Texas and Iowa State, whose defenses are so like this, I think it I don't want to say shocked them, but they've really bounced back. The next two games, no difference. Texas Tech and Kansas defense, they were much more stronger with the ball, anticipated, work hard. They did all those things that I said they needed to do after the first two, and I thought they bounced back and played really well the last two games, and that's going to continue on. So I think it was, unfortunately, it was a learning curve for a lot of people that first two games, but I think they've been much stronger with the ball, much more confident, much, just knowing what to expect, and that's been a really good sign with those guys.
Justin, looking at West Virginia, what are things they do well, problems they present for you guys?
Physicality and drawing fouls. They're like one of the really good ones in drawing fouls. Very, very physical. Coach Huggins, all his teams they play so hard and physical. It's no different. They're older. They hit the transfer portal with age and toughness, and that's something. And then rebounding. You are going to have to block out. You're not going to play volleyball and just think you're going to go. You got to put a body on guys, and you got to go get it, because they just pursue it, the glass. So their physicality of them getting up into you, full court, they're going to get into you. Looks like the Javon Carter days of West Virginia. They're up in you, they're physical, and then the way they rebound.
Is what we're seeing out of CJ, is it just comfortability and just having more confidence out on the floor now, coming to fruition from what you were talking about last week with what he was doing on the practice court?
Yeah, I think for all young players, it's a great lesson. You get your confidence by going as hard, like maximum effort in practice and seeing the ball go in practice and then getting extra shots in the gym. Sometimes getting the confidence isn't just doing it in a game. And I've said this now for 3 weeks, and he hasn't stopped. He's had his best practices in practices, like his motor, his energy. Just you saw his motor go coast to coast in Kansas 2 times. And, got total confidence shot. He stepped up and took a big 3 in under a 2-minute area. I had confidence in him. He stepped up and took a shot. Tanner took a shot in that. I got confidence in those guys. But CJ's practice habits have been really, really well. And I think he got his confidence from that. And then it translates in the game. It's just the way the basketball gods work, man. And his hard work's paying off.
Have you seen anything like this conference, just as far as you can't really dwell on a whole lot from game to game, just because every night somebody's bringing it?
It's just crazy. Baylor was one. I'm watching the Baylor-West Virginia game, and I'm thinking about this. Rewind to a month ago, or whatever it was. Baylor was one in the country, I think, at one point in the year. And West Virginia was like in the top 15, and they're both 0-3 in the conference at the time. It's nuts. It's nuts. You got two, and it's every night. It's every single night. It's the most physical league. It's the best league. And there's absolutely zero breathing room. And it's like, I remember I've been asked this, like we lose to Iowa State, a heartbreaker, and the next day we're like, you don't want to look ahead to 2 games, but your next 2 games are at Texas Tech, at Kansas, 2 of the hardest places. Texas Tech had 1 loss in 30 games there. Kansas, that's even worse a record. All right, and we were right there to win both. But you got to come back. You got to turn the page. You can't stay gut punched. And our guys have been resilient, and they believe they play with the best teams in the country. We've got to get that inch to push over and make those plays. I think it's key stops again. It's key stops down the stretch. We were up. I know we missed 2 good shots with the lead, but then if you have the lead and you still miss those shots, you got to get the stops. So I think that's a lesson moving forward. You got to turn the page from the Kansas game, because West Virginia's coming, and they're very, very physical and old.
With the way that Los has handled both of those environments, Lubbock and Lawrence, has he taught you anything that maybe you didn't know about how he would handle those situations?
He confirmed what I thought, that he embraces it. I thought that of him, but I hadn't seen it. But I expected him. I thought that, and he just confirmed it. I mean, he loves that moment. He loves that stage. He's not afraid of it, and that's why he's a good player.
I asked you real quick about Sam. We've asked you a lot about him over the course of the season, but 12 points at Fog. Just what can you say about how far he's come, just even offensively, specifically, since the start of the season?
Just toughness, and there's one specific play where we threw a pocket pass against their ice. He caught it, and he got banged. He came up with it. And I always say, I just use this play in an example. He threw it up because West Virginia's coming too. He went up, caught it, and there was bodies, gathered himself, and skillfully passed it to Los for a 3. I mean, his skill level of an IQ of what to do, and when he got his toughness in the game of going to grab it, but then he realized he was clamped on and kicked it for a wide open 3. That's growth. His skill level, basketball IQ is going. He went in there right away and had toughness. The guys look for him. He rolls hard. He's athletic. So, in this league, he brings that toughness that we need.
Go back to the room. Anybody else? We'll go back and we'll finish.
Bob Huggins is known for a lot. He's got his dry sense of humor. I'm curious, how far back does your relationship with him go, and perhaps what of his personality have you gleaned over the years?
Oh, he's a great guy. He's a guy that you want to hang out with. He really does. He's a great guy. I told him this story at the first Big 12 Media Day. I told this story about it, and he started laughing because then he didn't know that he didn't remember that I was part of this. But we played one of his early Cincinnati teams, and they were really good. And I was playing at Creighton, and we were really good. And we played in the Rainbow Classic in Hawaii. And back then, the locker rooms were like up on a stage, and they had one of those metal curtain draperies holding it back. And we were up 20 at half. And we came in feeling kind of good. They had those folding chairs. So we're sitting there, and coaches come in, and we're listening through the curtain to the halftime speech. It really wasn't a speech. He got after them so hard, it was unbelievable. And Coach Huggins started laughing. And you heard chairs flying, you heard this. We lost by 2. We lost the game. It was, they pressed us from the moment we came out for halftime warm-ups. I think they were pressing us in the layup line. And that was my first encounter with Coach Huggins, is that Cincinnati team when I was a player. And then I've just admired him over the years, watching him coach and toughness. He wins everywhere. He's won everywhere. There's not a place he hasn't won. And he's one of the best coaches in our professions and one of the best guys in our profession.
Sooner Scoop HD.